Hello, everyone. Welcome to our 13th session of the Light Body Manifestation Program. I'm Mercedes Kirkel, the guide and facilitator for the program, and I'm happy to be back with all of you. So we've been sharing before we actually started our experiences, or all of your experiences from the last session where we were doing the healing work, healing our heart, and I really appreciate your sharing that. And I also want to mention that I really appreciate the people who've continued to write to me and share your experiences with me. It's really, really helpful, and especially as we go into this next period of time where we're going to be doing meditations every time, extended meditations. It's very helpful if you would let me know what happens for you during these meditations or during the week, afterwards, if there's something to share. And if there isn't something to share, it does not mean that there's nothing happening. Sometimes things happen very quietly and there's not necessarily any outward, story to it or experiences, but it doesn't mean that it's not effective and something isn't happening. So I want to reassure people in that regard too. But if there is something that you notice, it really helps me to stay connected to everybody's process when I hear what's going on with you. So I invite everybody to keep doing that, or if you haven't been, to start doing it and let me know. So that's really helpful. I think we're going to not go any further with sharing experiences today because, like I said, we have a lot that we're covering. So I'm going to get our screen share going. So we're going to go right into, let's see, here's what we want. Going into our focus for this week. And this week, we are going to be going into the sacred space of the heart. And I will be talking about what that means. So I'm going to be doing a little bit of, speaking before we begin about what this process is. But this is what we've been building up to for quite a while, is starting to enter into the different parts of our energy body and to do the activations in our energy body. And this is going to be the first one this week of going into what I am calling the sacred space of the heart. So I'm very excited about this and looking forward to it. As part of this, just to let you know, we're going to be doing a guided meditation where I'm going to be guiding you into going into the sacred space of your heart. And that's going to be at the final part of our class. And then I'm going to leave you there. And I am going to sign off and end the meeting, and you are going to stay in there for as long as you would like. I suggest staying in there for 20 to 30 minutes and really giving yourself a full experience in meditation. But that's up to you. You'll choose. So this is an example of how I would love for any communications afterwards about what happened to you. Not necessarily tonight, although if you feel like it, that's fine. But, in the next days or sometime during the week, if you want to share with me what happened for you in this process, that would be very wonderful. But before we get to all of that, we are going to start with a completion of our healing work for last week. And we talked about this last week, how especially in regards to any entities that may be sharing space with you still, or may have been in the past, that sometimes they need some time to think about whether they're really wanting to move on, whether they're ready. And so we're going to do a completion of the healing work, inviting the entities once again to make use of our love and blessing and support, and Archangel Michael to let him escort them on in their path. So we're going to do where we're going to once again go up into the 5th dimension and do a completion healing work and doing that. So that's what we're going to start with. And I'm going to go back. I'm going to get out of the screen sharing here and go back to our regular sharing and talk about a little bit what we're going to do with that. And now I see Jennifer has joined us. Yay. Hi, Jennifer. So glad that you're all here. And that's very good. I'm happy about that. Okay, let me get my right screen up here. Give me just a minute. Okay. So, oh, and then while I'm thinking about it, I just want to mention briefly that and I will explain more about this later, but I just want to make sure while I'm thinking about it. This meditation that we're going to be doing later of going into the sacred space of the heart, that's going to be your homework for the week, is in your meditation time to keep going back on your own into the sacred space of the heart. And the reason I'm saying it now rather than at the end is because at the end I'm going to leave you in your meditation and not be talking about other things like the suggested practice. So that's why I'm mentioning it now. But it will be on the notes and suggested practices that I'll put out as soon as the video is ready. So you'll see that. But I wanted to mention that now because I won't be saying it at the end of the class. Hopefully I'm not confusing you with all this preview material. Okay, let's see what else. So we're going to do this healing completion, and I want to explain a little bit about how we're going to do this. We're going to start with the same way we started last time, with you getting comfortable lying down, and we're going to do the guided meditation where I take you up into the 5th dimension and up into the pyramid of light in the 5th dimension. So we'll do that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on some music. It's going to be different music from our music from last time. This music is called the Gayatri Mantra, which many of you might be familiar with. There's many different versions of the Gayatri Mantra. The Gayatri Mantra is supposed to be the oldest recorded mantra in history. It's from India. And there are also many translations of what it means. And I'm going to tell you my translation that I like. I love the Gayatri Mantra. I have a very, very strong connection to it and have used it for a very, very long time. And to me, it's a very beautiful universal mantra. And the translation that I like is these words: pervading all planes and states, the radiant supreme being illuminates existence. May all beings awaken to the brilliance of divinely enlightened awareness. So my understanding is that the Gayatri Mantra was originally created towards the sun god. And this definition where it says the radiant supreme being is the translation that I like of the sun god. And what I especially like about this is that we're inviting the entities to move on in the light and to move on towards their divine essence of their divinely enlightened awareness and the path that leads them there. So to me, these words are speaking very much in alignment with the process of blessing whatever beings there are to continue on their path and blessing us to continue on our path as well. So it's a full blessing. And the music that I'm playing, in case you're interested, is a version of the Gayatri Mantra that's being sung by Tina Malia and Shimshai. And it's one of the versions that I like very much. So We're going to go up into I'm going to have you lie down and put on your eye masks. We're going to go up into the fifth dimension. I am going to start the music. And then what I'm going to do when we're in the pyramid of light in the fifth dimension, I am just going to be doing an energetic process for supporting the completion of any energies moving on that are ready to move on. And so you will just be lying down, resting, and being open. You don't have particularly anything you need to be doing other than just resting and being open. Listen to the music and just notice anything you may be experiencing. If you feel emotional, it's possible you may feel emotions, you may feel tears come up and feel an urge to cry. That's totally fine. You'll all have your sound off. You'll be in quiet, for yourself, whatever your process is. I do suggest that you lie on your back, and I suggest that it's like in yoga, what's called the corpse pose, where you're open, your body is open, your arms are at your side. If you want, you can do the mudra where you put your thumb and forefinger together, or you can just have your hands completely just, open. But it's a very open position of your body. So that's what I suggest. So let me see if there's anything else I want to say about that. Nope. At the end of the music goes for about 7.5 minutes. At the end of the music, we'll have just a little bit longer of resting time, and then at a certain point, I'll invite you to come back to consciousness, and then we'll do the completion meditation of returning back out of the fifth dimension, back to the third dimension, and back to our physical bodies. So that's the first process we're going to do. Is there any questions about that? Okay. Then what I invite everybody to do now is to get your eye mask, lie down, put on your eye mask, adjust whatever you need to do so you can hear, my instructions and the music. And when it looks like everybody's ready, we'll begin.
Mercedes, this is Jennifer.
Hello.
Hi. I can't see myself, but I don't know if you can see me, but I guess it doesn't really matter, right?
I can't see you, so
okay.
Your camera, for whatever reason, doesn't seem to be on.
Okay, so it's fine. We don't need to see me.
Okay.
I was just bothering me, so I just wanted to make sure I was here, but I'm just not camera here.
Yeah, it shows that you're here, and it just says your name.
Okay, thanks.
So thanks for checking in.
Okay.
Glad you're here. Okay, so if you give me just a minute, I'll be ready to start. All right. And just one last thing as a suggestion while we're doing this. There is one thing. If there's anything you feel moved to release, you can offer it up into the space, above a few inches above your body, and then it'll just get released with this energetic process that I'm doing. So if you feel moved, feel free to do that. So now I invite you to allow your eyes to close, to relax your belly and let your breath drop all the way down into your pelvis, and to let your breathing become rhythmic. Relax your shoulders, allowing your chest and heart region to open. Relax the back of your neck and your jaw, letting your head float right above your spinal column. And relax all the muscles of your legs, especially the large muscles at the tops of the legs. So there's a feeling of connection between the soles of your feet and the crown of your head. And now shifting your awareness to your heart, we're going to take several breaths to and from the heart as though you're breathing with your heart. Breathing in, and then exhale, and as you exhale, releasing anything you're ready to release at this time. Inhale with your heart, and exhale from your heart, releasing anything you want to release. And once more, inhale, and exhale, release. And then relaxing your breathing, let it come and go on its own natural rhythm as you shift your focus to above the crown of your head, where you see, sense, or feel a sphere of light directly above your crown chakra. And we're going to follow this sphere of light as it begins to slowly descend along our central channel, first moving down into our crown chakra, and then continuing from there to move lower, moving inside of our skull and coming down to the level of our third eye, and continuing to slowly descend, moving down to the level of the bridge of our nose, tip of our nose, mouth, chin, and then entering the neck region, first the top of the neck, center of the neck where the throat chakra is, base of the neck, and then entering into our chest, first the top of the chest, and then lower to the level of the thymus gland, and lower still to the heart region where it comes to rest at the very center of our heart. From this place at the center of your heart, see, sense, or feel rays of light emanating out from the sphere in all directions, sending the colors, qualities, and virtues of our Mother, Father, God out to your whole self. And now, using your intention, gather your etheric body, which is the same as your energy body, and draw it entirely inside the sphere of light at your heart. And with your energy body completely contained inside the sphere of light, we now begin to travel in our spheres of light. First, moving back through the portal at the back of your heart, and continuing to move back and back until you're outside your physical body, at which point we're met by Archangel Michael, who guides us swiftly, safely, and directly up into the 5th dimension. As we arrive in the 5th dimension, we see a large pyramid of light that has been specially prepared for our time together today, and we enter inside the pyramid of light. At the center of the pyramid of light is the violet flame of transmutation, which is there to help us if there's anything we wish to release, transform, or transmute in any way. And we lie down around the violet flame with our heads closer to the or our feet closer to the violet flame and our heads further away, so that we are making a circle like spokes of a wheel around the violet flame, but not touching it, a comfortable distance away. Hanging down from the apex of the pyramid is a very large double-terminated crystal with rays of creator light flowing out from the crystal in all directions, filling the pyramid with creator light. Archangel Michael is with us inside the pyramid and is going to assist us once again if there is anything we wish to release and that he can support us in, and in particular if there are any entities who wish to let go and move on in the light, to be supported with our full love and blessing in continuing on in their path with the help of Archangel Michael. And so now I am going to begin the music, and we'll begin this final releasing process.
Tatsavitu varenya Bargo devasya dimahidio Yona prachodaya Om Bhuvaswa Tatsavitu varenya Bargo devasya dimahidio Yona prachodaya Om Bhuvaswa Tatsavitu varenya Bargo devasya dimahidio Yona Tatsavitur Varenyam Bargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat Om Bhuvasva Tatsavitur Varenyam Bargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat Om Bhuvasva Tatsavitur Varenyam Bargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. Tatsavitur Varenyam Bargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat Om Bhuvasva Tatsavitur Varenyam Bargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat Om Bhuvasva Tatsavitur Varenyam Bargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat Bhuvasva Tatsavitur Varenyam Bargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat Om Bhuvasva Tatsavitur Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat Om Bhuvasva Tatsavitur Varenyam Bargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. Tatsavitur Varenya Bargo Devasya Dimahidio Yona
It's now time for us to begin to get ready for our return to the third dimension. So begin to gather your etheric body, which is the same as your energy body, and draw it back into the sphere of light. And with your energy body completely contained once again inside the sphere of light, we're now ready to travel and begin our return to the third dimension and our physical bodies. We begin by moving outside the pyramid of light, where Archangel Michael is still with us and guides us swiftly, safely, and directly back to the third dimension and our physical body. And we approach our physical body from behind in the region of the chest. And then we once again begin to move inside our physical body, moving forward and forward, coming to the portal at the back of the heart and moving forward through the portal until we are back in the very center of our heart space, where the sphere comes to rest and then opens up so that our etheric energy body expands and resumes its full size, shape, and dimension in complete reintegration with our other bodies, our physical body, emotional body, mental body, causal body, and spiritual body. And we complete this full reintegration with 3 deep breaths, breathing in and out, in and out, in and out. And then gently begin to move your fingers and toes, slowly reopening your eyes, coming back to this time, this place, this space. And welcome back. And very gently, when you are ready, bring yourself back to sitting and back into our shared space in our meeting room. So if anyone is open to sharing, I would like to hear what you experienced.
Hi, this is Eva.
Hi.
I'm having a question regarding to the visualization, because I'm not always able to visualize it or travel in the way that you describe. I do feel things happening, and I do feel a part of myself splitting up, but I'm very much connected to my body. Mm-hmm. And often feeling my body lying on the couch and things like that. So my question is, in how much should we travel like all the way, or is it normal to be conscious of your body in this meditation?
It's very normal to be conscious of your body. And I know for myself, I have the ability to be in both places. I can function, at the physical level, and I actually am. I'm doing things with the program, even while we're doing this at the physical level, and still stay completely connected to what's happening at the higher dimension. So it's not a problem to be aware of, the 3D physical. And different people will have different experiences. Some people more naturally will travel and really go into the experience and perhaps even lose awareness largely or perhaps even entirely of the physical 3D. And other people won't. Some people have much more visual experiences, and some people much less. Visual tends to be coming out of our masculine side, and partly it depends, or it can depend how much you tend to operate out of your masculine. And so there's just differences in that way between people. I know for myself that I used to never or very, very rarely see things. It's just not something, it's not a part of my brain that I operate out of very often. And even I used to not be able to visualize things. Even like when I was away from my daughter, I would try to remember what my daughter looked like, and I couldn't really picture her. I just didn't have that capacity. It has grown in me tremendously. And now I see many, many things when I work in higher dimensions, probably more than I see in the third dimension. So it can change also. And as your higher dimensional abilities open up, that may be part of what shifts is the kinds of experiences that you have, or it may not, it's to be seen. But some people will be much more visual than others. Some will be more kinesthetic. Some hear things more. Some just have a sense, and it may not be particularly connected to any of their physical sensation experiences. It's just it's more intuitive. They have a sense or even a knowingness of what's going on. So there can be many different ways that you experience things. Is that helpful?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. That's okay. I know you're up very late. Thank you.
Well, I have an observation. So this happened last time too, that I get back and I'm like, what just happened? Like, I don't even remember anything. And I felt that way after the exercise we did last time too. Like, because I didn't share last time because I'm like, I don't even know what happened. And I don't know.
And that's okay too. It's somewhat like dreaming and having a dream and then, thinking that maybe I never dreamed because I can't remember them, or I know I had a dream, but I can't remember what it was. That's oftentimes an experience that people have too. And that also is something that can change over time, where you start to have more memory. And it's part of being able to travel interdimensionally and bring back between dimensions your experience and your gifts from the other dimensions.
Okay, thank you.
But the fact that you don't remember does not mean that you're not getting the benefit of it.
Yeah, no, I felt like I got the benefit. It's more like I feel just, I even felt it when we had our session with the light things. Like I was like, what just happened? And then I listened back and I was like, wow, a lot happened.
Yes. And that's
I,
one of the reasons why I record them, is because that's so typical.
exactly. But I feel like such a elevation in my energy, if that makes sense. Like it feels so high.
Yes.
I think I'm just like there, and that just feels, I think I'm just enjoying that feeling so much that, yeah. So thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Anyone else want to share what they experienced?
Rajender, hi.
Hi.
At one point I felt like a huge weight being lifted out of my second chakra. And then like some kind of movement in the back of my neck. And that was like, whoa, it was like a big relief.
Wow.
And then when we came back, you know, as we were coming back, I felt this physical weight of my body, but I don't feel that same like heaviness that was there. So that was good.
Wow.
So thank you.
Thank you. That I think I know exactly what you're referring to, because I think I was experiencing it from my vantage point, and you know, in my level, I think I was experiencing that too, and it was very, very significant. It was a big release of something that was very old and very, it was kind of like in stone. And it had to, and the stone transformed. First it transformed into crystal, and then it transformed into ash. And there was a big release.
Yeah. Got very light. The energy felt very light.
Yeah, yeah. Very beautiful. Thank you. Anyone else want to share what they experienced?
So for me, yeah, the lightness I felt last time, this time I had some visual experiences, and the first one was to see a pyramid on top of my heart. And then it changed to having a lot of the little violet flames around the body, and some of them will spark. So I thought it might be some cleaning. And then when the body went back into the ball, I saw that it had some light in it, so that the light in the ball was not coming from outside, but coming from me, from my body.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so it was, thank you.
Wow. Anyone else? For me, it was very emotional. I was crying. I wasn't expecting that. I'd said, oh, you might cry, and I ended up crying. It was, but it was definitely tears of joy, and I felt like there were some entities that released, and that they were so happy, and it was the crying was the happiness. They were so happy to be reconnected with the light. It was very beautiful. Okay, well, let's move on. So I'm calling up my notes here. And what I want to do now is start talking about the sacred space of the heart and what this means, that we're going to be entering into the sacred space of the heart. So there's our physical heart, and then there's our heart chakra, which is part of our energy system. And the sacred space of the heart resides in the heart chakra. It's part of our heart energy system. To me, it reminds me of this ancient stories about Avalon, where Avalon wasn't a physical place. It was a place that you had to enter when you were prepared, that, you know, people couldn't find it in the physical realm. And hopefully you know about the story that I'm referring to, the priestesses of Avalon, and this was in England. And if you go there, it doesn't exist in the physical. It was in the energetic. And these structures that we're going to start working with, that's how they are. You know, it's like a doctor who only works with the physical wouldn't necessarily find this. It's someone who's prepared to enter. And I believe we have done that preparation work very, very thoroughly through all the work we've done up to this point with our chakras, our lower supporting chakras, and now through this healing work that we've done with the heart. I believe that we are very, very prepared to open that gateway in the heart, which begins with going into the sacred space of the heart. So I want to talk a little bit about what this is, this sacred space of the heart. And I remember at the very beginning of the course, we talked about how we're going to be working on many levels with the idea of, I always forget this word, but how each little, every tiny aspect reflects the whole. And if you want to unmute yourself, if you know the word that I'm spacing out on right now, I would love to hear it. But that's part of what our sacred space of our heart is, where it's a place that contains vast amounts of information. Fundamentally, it contains the Akashic record of the entire universe. Holographic, that's the word I'm looking for, where it's a holographic portal into the Akashic record of the entire universe. And if you're familiar with the Akashic record, that's the history, the information of everything that's happened, past, present, and future. Well, I don't actually agree with it. It's the future. It's the potentiality in the future, but it's not actually showing the future, because we're at choice about how we create the future. But it's the message, it's the information. And it also, this sacred space of the heart also includes our unique Akashic record, which sometimes our own Akashic record is described as being like a volume in a vast library, that every soul has its own volume, and that volume shows their path, their soul path through all time. And so this is like the whole library exists in holographic form in the sacred space of our heart, as well as our personal Akashic record. We can't enter another person's Akashic record without their permission. It's one of the laws of respecting free will of the universe. But because we are part of the universe, we can get still tremendous amount of information just about the universe, and definitely about ourselves also. And sometimes the messages in the Akashic record are oftentimes they're in symbolic form. So when we go into the sacred space of the heart, we may see symbols, we may see art that contains meaning. We may experience all kinds of art. We might hear music that contains meaning. We might see dance that contains meaning. We might, there's all forms. An example of a form of symbolic communication in our world today is crop circles. That I believe is a very good example of information being encoded in symbolic form. So it's very possible that that's what we might see when we enter inside the sacred space of the heart. Going into the sacred space of the heart, in my experience, if we spend time there, to me it's very similar to what happens on a sacred journey. If people have ever done a guided journey where you might have done it with a shaman taking you on a journey. Some people have done journeys through sacred medicine or drugs. You've had perhaps journey experiences in those. Or other forms, a teacher of some sort or other who guided you on a journey, or perhaps you had a spontaneous journey experience. And again, dreams can be very much like a journey that we go on. And we can come back and look at our dreams and say, what was the information for me? What were the gifts from that dreams? That's very much the quality of what the sacred space of the heart is often like, is it has information, but not necessarily like sitting down and reading a book and just getting the information to your mind. It often comes in this other form that's more symbolic or encoded in some way or other. And the way that the sacred space of the heart appears to you is also very, I want to say plastic, and I'm not sure if I'm using that word in the right sense, but I think that is the word that I want, but fluid. It's malleable, it can change, and it very much depends on your orientation, your soul orientation. For example, when I first entered my sacred space of the heart, what I saw was a sacred temple, similar to the ancient temples of Egypt, because that's my background, that's my soul lineage. And so it was very natural for me to associate a sacred place with having that form. And so I think that was part of my creation, is to create it in that form. I heard from Drunvalo Melchizedek that when he entered his sacred space originally, and I think continues to this day, for him, his sacred space of the heart was a cave that he was in, like a cave in nature. And Drunvalo's background is much more, he's studied with indigenous cultures and shamans, first very much with the Native Americans in the Southwest. And so it seems natural to me that that would be, and he's also spoken about having a past life as a Native American. So it seems very natural to me that that's the form it would take for him, because that's been his soul path of identifying sacred places in that kind of form. So it can be different for each person what your form is. And again, that can change, that can be fluid, and that's for you to experience and to see what the messages are for you as that changes. Some of the qualities of the sacred space of the heart. First is that it's a very still place. And one of the ways you'll know when you arrive in this sacred space is that you'll feel this quality of stillness. it doesn't mean that nothing is happening. Like I said, it can feel like you're on a journey, and all sorts of things can be happening the way they do when we're on a journey. But at the same time, and especially initially, oftentimes you'll have a feeling of coming to stillness or coming into a very still place. It also tends to be in darkness. And one of the qualities of the heart is that the heart can see in darkness. And that's one of the differences between our physical reality and going into this more fourth dimensional reality. And so if you go into your sacred space of the heart and it is dark, one of the things that I recommend that you do first is to ask that there be light. And this is very similar to the beginning of the Bible, where we were told, let there be light. And to me, this is a reflection of that not only in the creation of our world, but also in this creation space, the space of all creation in our heart, that we're asking, let there be light. And the light can come in different forms. It doesn't necessarily come all at once, like switching on a light switch, although it might. It might come gradually, like, a dimmer switch of a light coming up gradually. It might be a brighter light, or it might be a very soft light, like moonlight. So it can come in different ways. Even if you don't experience light, it's fine. Your heart can still see in the darkness. But I recommend that you ask for there to be light. And one of the things you'll notice in the sacred space of the heart that's also different between 3D reality and going into the heart, which we're entering into 4D reality in there, is that when the light comes, there isn't a shadow. Everything is in the light, and nothing is blocking the light. So that's one aspect. Another aspect of the sacred space of the heart is that it has a very distinctive vibration. And it's a good thing to notice and to get attuned to, because it can support you in connecting with the sacred space of your heart in the future. You can remember this vibration, and for some people, just calling upon the vibration is enough to bring them back into the sacred space of the heart. And in the that some people say that this is the vibration that in the Indian tradition they call Om. In the Western tradition, they say in the beginning there was the word. And one interpretation of that is that this is the vibration of creation. And that some people also say this is the vibration that you will feel or experience if you go into the Great Pyramid in Egypt in the King's Chamber. That there's a very specific vibration there, and some people say it's the same as the vibration in our heart. So one of the things we're going to be doing when we go into the sacred space of the heart, and again, everybody's going to be muted, so this will just be for you to do, but we're going to chant and actually hum the vibration that we sense, because that will help us to identify it and send it out to our whole body. It'll amplify it and help us kind of anchor that memory into our body. Let me see if there's more that I want to say about this. Well, I'll pause right there and see if there's any questions, and then I'll talk about the process that we're going to use for going into the sacred space of the heart. So does anyone have any questions about this?
Yes. I just want to make sure I heard you correctly. Did you say we were going to hum the vibration that we sense is of that Sacred Heart space? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, I just wanted to share that I had this insight when you were talking about the sacred space of the heart. And I felt very strongly that knowing my heart is knowing my story. And it felt very intimate and personal, like that this would be another journey to take to get to know yourself on a very intimate and personal level.
Yes. And over the next few weeks, we're going to be doing different meditations that are going to really reinforce that. And that's exactly where we're going.
Okay, nice.
Yes. Any other questions or comments? Okay. Then I will go on. So this is the process we're going to go through. And there are different ways to go into the sacred space of the heart. We're going to practice a few different ways, and there are other ways too, even besides the ones that we're going to make use of, but these are the ones that I was taught and that I practice and have found to be very easeful. So that's the ones we're going to be doing. And we're going to start with what I was told is a male way of going in. And later we're going to do, not today, but next week, we're going to do the female way. And I guess it's better to say masculine and feminine. But for our first time going in, I think the masculine way is the easiest way. And some people say that this is part of what Yeshua was teaching in his teaching to people. I definitely believe that he was very much teaching an inner process to the inner circle about going into the fourth dimension, and that it had very much to do with these practices that we're going to be learning over the next weeks. And this is the beginning of that. So I think there is some text, and it may not be a well-known text, that has references to Yeshua talking about going into the heart the way we're going to be going in this time, which to me is very beautiful, because I have such a deep, loving relationship with Yeshua and trust, and such a deep trust that that's very special for me. And just to know, even though we're all women in this class, that this way works equally well for men and women, and as does the female way. And it will give you an experience of different ways for you to see what's the easiest way for you that you choose and you prefer. So, here is what we're going to be doing. We're going to be sitting up for this meditation. And I recommend that you get in your asana that we've practiced, whatever is your comfortable asana. And we're going to be doing this meditation for approximately half an hour. And you will have your eye mask on for this meditation. The eye mask helps with this darkness and going into the darkness. And so it's supportive in that way. And it's one of the reasons why having this particular eye mask where it blocks out all the light is very supportive. So we are going to start with our Mother, Father, God meditation that we've been practicing. And this is one of the things that makes this practice very accessible for people, is that there's a certain frequency that gets activated when you connect with Mother Earth and Father Sky. and bring it into your heart and connecting at your heart. So that's sort of the container that allows us to do this other work. We're building a process, and that's the first step, our foundation of doing the Mother Earth, Father Sky meditation. So we'll be starting with that. And then for the purposes of this meditation that we're doing today, I'm going to ask you again to imagine that you're centered up in your pineal chakra, like the day where we did the traveling through the body to different places in the body. That was a preparation for this meditation that we're doing today. So we're going to start out the same way, where we're imagining that we're at our pineal chakra. And again, if you remember, it's this place where you do the same distance, and it's here, but it's back right over the top of your ears. So it's the center of your head, that's where we're beginning from. And that we're going to move from there. And our movement is going to be first down into our throat, as we did before when we traveled. And then we're going to go down into our heart. And we're going to start with being in front of our heart and facing toward our heart. And this is our physical heart that we're talking about at this point. So going down to the heart, in front of the heart, and facing toward it. And I will be guiding you through all of this. And then what I'm going to ask you to do is to turn yourself a quarter turn counterclockwise. And at that point, rather than facing toward the heart should be on your right side. Your right shoulder should be toward the front of your heart. And then what I'm going to suggest you do is, keeping your right shoulder towards your heart, that you're going to make an arc around the heart until you're in back of the heart. And then turn and face the heart from the back. So you're going to make another quarter turn, this time clockwise, so you're facing the heart and now you're behind. Is that clear? Any questions about that part?
What do you mean make an arc?
It's like you're traveling around the heart. So with your right shoulder, toward the heart, you're just arcing in a circle around the heart.
Okay, till you end up behind. Okay.
So you end up behind, and then you make a quarter turn clockwise, and you're facing the heart from behind.
Okay, I got it. Thanks.
You're welcome. And then what I'm going to ask you to do is to tune into what's this portal at the back of the heart that we've been talking about in our meditations, where we go up into the fifth dimension. I don't explain it because people intuitively know where it is, but that's what we're working with very specifically, that there is a portal back there. And the way it might look visually to you, or you might sense it, or you might feel it, and all of that is totally fine, is that there's like a crevice at the back of the heart. And yeah?
What does that word mean?
Crevice? It's like crevice. What does crevice mean? It's like a little slit, a little indentation, a place that goes in. Like a crevice in a rock is kind of like a crack in a rock.
Okay.
And it has a feeling to it of feeling like a vortex. So it's like an opening that has this feeling of, vortex energy pulling you in. That's what you're looking for, feeling for, or sensing at the back of the heart. And that's this portal. And then what you want to do is you want to move right next to it and let it grab you and draw you in. And you'll have a feeling as though you're going down a tunnel. And then at a certain point, you'll stop and you'll be there and you'll have arrived in the stillness, something like being at the center of a cyclone, the stillness at the center. And that's when you're there in the sacred space of the heart. And what I'm going to again suggest is that you ask for there to be light, and then just notice what happens and how and in what way the light may appear after you ask. And we'll take a little time for that. And then we're going to shift to focusing on the vibration that we sense or feel or hear in the sacred space of the heart. And we're going to take a minute to hum whatever we pick up, so that again we can anchor that vibration as a way of returning whenever we want back into, or at least a support for returning back into the sacred space of the heart. And then after that, I am going to leave you. And that's going to be your time to explore the sacred space of the heart. And as I said, I suggest staying in there somewhere between 20 and 30 minutes, but it's totally up to you. And when you feel complete, you can gently bring yourself back into the space of the room. And you can stay in the sacred space of the heart. You don't have to bring yourself out of it. You can let yourself stay there as long as you want. You'll only be able to maintain it most likely for a certain period of time, and then it'll just dissipate. And you'll go back to wherever you feel yourself centered at that point. But I suggest that you let yourself stay there as your centered place for as long as you're able. And then, as I said, this will be your meditation for this week, is to continue this process throughout the week. So, are there any questions? Just a quick summary of what I said. Excuse me. We're going to start with connecting with Mother Earth, Father Sky, and our heart, ourself as the divine child. That's our foundation. Then we're going to imagine ourselves centered up in our pineal chakra. We're going to move down through our throat to the front of our heart and face toward our heart. And then we're going to turn a quarter turn counterclockwise, so our right shoulder is towards the front of the heart. And then we're going to move around the heart, keeping our right shoulder towards the heart till we're at the back. And then we do a quarter turn clockwise and we're facing towards the heart in the back. And then we're going to look for that portal at the back of the heart, which looks like a crevice and has the feeling of being like a vortex. And we're going to get very close to it and let ourselves just be pulled right in, which will have the feeling of going through and often down a tunnel. And then you'll stop and you'll come into stillness. And that's when you're in the sacred space of the heart. And then at that point, I suggest that you, if it's dark, that you ask for there to be light. And notice what happens with the light. That you tune into the vibration. And if you choose, hum the vibration to help you remember this connection with the sacred space of the heart, even in a very bodily way. And then let yourself explore and have whatever you experience in your sacred space of the heart. Until you're ready to come out, and then gently let yourself come out, and you can stay in that sacred space of the heart as long as you choose and as long as you're able. Any questions? Do people need any prep? Oh, is there a question?
Bathroom break?
That's what I was just going to ask. Do people need a bathroom break, preparation time? Can we take a couple minutes?
Yeah.
Okay. So let me know when you're back and ready, and we will begin.
Mercedes,
Mm-hmm.
are you going to talk us through the meditation, or do we need to remember?
I'm going to talk you through the meditation this time, but as you're doing it throughout the week, you'll need to remember on your own. And if you forget, feel free to write me and, ask any questions or whatever. And please do share any experiences you have. I really just love hearing that. Partly it's just it's connecting, it's exciting, and it also helps me to really understand and be clear, where everyone is at in the process, so I can support people as much as possible.
Mercedes, it's Jennifer.
Hi.
Hi. Unfortunately, I will be here until 7, and then I have to wake myself out. I have a presentation to give. I'm actually at work still. So it's just, any suggestions? You think I'll be fine just coming out of this and going into a board meeting, doing a presentation?
That's an interesting transition.
I didn't know if I should quit now and then just listen to the recording and do it on my own, or if I feel excited to stay here and do this with all of us right now.
What I would suggest is that you be sure and give yourself enough transition time.
Okay.
And maybe ask your angel to help you.
Okay. I like that. That feels good.
To have all the protection you need, and to be fully back, and to be able to function in whatever way you need to for your presentation.
Okay.
Great.
Thank you.
Yes. Any other questions? You will need your eye shade for this. Well, of the people I can see, it looks like those people are ready. So, unless I hear from anyone else that you're not ready, I think we'll go ahead. So I invite you to get comfortable in your meditation asana. Soles of your feet on the floor or legs crossed, whichever you prefer, and your back comfortably straight. And again, begin with letting your breath become rhythmic. And I invite you to begin with connecting from your heart to Mother Earth's heart. And if it supports you, to put your right hand over your heart as you make this connection from your heart to Mother Earth's heart, feeling your love for Mother Earth and sending love from your heart to her heart. And when that feels strong for you, then you can allow Mother Earth's heart, allow Mother Earth's love from her heart to come back to your heart. And if you choose, you can cover your right hand with your left hand over your heart as a way of feeling Mother Earth's love coming from her heart back to your heart. And let that love of Mother Earth fill your whole self. And then continuing with feeling your love and connection between yourself and Mother Earth, but now shifting your focus to Father Sky and sending your love from your heart to Father Sky's heart in one of his forms, a form that you feel connected to in this particular moment. And when your connection with Father Sky feels strong, feel Father Earth's love coming back to you and into your heart in the form of light. And feel that light of Father Sky filling your whole self with light. And so at your heart, feel Mother Earth loving you and Father Sky bringing his light to you simultaneously, even as they're loving each other through you. And you are the divine child, their love made manifest in human form. And so at your heart, there is the union of Mother Earth, Father Sky, and you as divine child. And then if you've been using your hands on your heart, I invite you to just relax them in your lap And to assume your asana, your mudra with your fingers. So the energy circuits are closed. And then shift your focus to the center of your head where your pineal chakra is. And for now, feeling yourself centered right there at the center of your skull, at the pineal chakra. And then we're going to start to move down into the heart. Moving first down into the throat, and then continuing from there to move lower and coming into our heart area at the front of the heart. And when you are there, turning and facing your heart. So you're in front of your heart, facing toward your heart. And then you're going to turn a quarter turn counterclockwise so that your right side of your body is toward your heart. And then you're going to travel around the heart, keeping the right side of your body toward the heart, traveling halfway around the heart until you're at the back of the heart. And then making a quarter turn clockwise so that you're once again facing the heart, but this time from the back. And now see if you notice, if you can see, sense, or feel the portal at the back of the heart, which may appear like a crevice with the energy of a vortex drawing you in. When you see, sense, or feel that portal at the back of the heart, let yourself get very close to it. And then let yourself be drawn into it, which may feel like you're going down a tunnel. And then at a certain point you stop and you're there in the sacred space of the heart. Notice the stillness around you. If it is dark, ask for there to be light. And then notice if or how the light comes. Now notice the frequency that you might sense or feel or hear. This is the frequency of the sacred space of the heart. Let yourself hum this frequency as a way of amplifying it and anchoring the memory into yourself. Let your humming subside. And now it is your time to explore the sacred space of your heart. I suggest that you stay here for 20 or 25 minutes and then gently bring yourself back. Though you can rest even after you come back in the sacred space of your heart as long as you're able. You may want to record your experiences afterward. It's entirely up to you. But now I leave you to experience the sacred space of your heart.